Very interesting film. Remember it? Really touching, right? The power of literacy. And from this short film, it is in fact a TV commercial for whiskey, Scotch whiskey. And from this TV commercial, we know that in the tradition of educational theory, we know what is one of the most important factors for a successful learning is the motivation. He had the very powerful motivation. He wanted to read his son's book. So it's the motivation. And practice. You practice and practice and practice. And you enter a new level after long time learning and another level. It's touching, and it also can be some material for our learning. I mean, not the story, not the touching element in this commercial, but to realize how this TV commercial touches your heart. How can it do that? Realize how the visual element in this film and also in all the other films touch your heart, make you move. Be moved. How did they do that? They are just like it's the visual form. And they are just like the written form. In the written form of a story, a novel, for example, you read the novel and you are touched. Oh, it's so touching. The characters in these novels, the father want to learn to read. It's really, really touching in this novel. And you read the sentences. And in this case, you don't read sentences. You read the film. It's also another form of literacy. It is your visual literacy. And it is widely misunderstood. And people think the original literacy must be learned. I must learn English, and I must learn Chinese, I must learn French in order to be able to read. But visually, I don't need to learn anything. It is obviously understandable for everyone in the world. Many of us do think so, but it is not true. So we have the so-called visual literacy. And we have one interesting film. Okay, I should find it later. Okay, we'll come back to this issue later. But we have talked about reading film. What's the problem? Oh, it's not English. I know. It's not English. It's French. De nouveau chef d'œuvre du réalisateur de La traversée du temps. It's French. The new work of the director of, how should it be called in English? The jump in time. And his new film. So we're talking about reading film. Okay, this is about visual literacy. And I remember I downloaded a short film about visual literacy. I will try to find it again. And now we are moving to today's presentation by our classmates on the issue of competitiveness. Okay, please, it's your time. You have your choice. Doesn't work.
Today, our team will talk about the impact of neoliberalism. As the world changed into a knowledge-based economy and with the globalization forces continuing to proceed in an unprecedented way, higher education systems have become one of the national imperatives for international competitiveness. This is our group members. We made the PowerPoint. First, I want to talk about what is neoliberalism. The German scholar Alexander Ruto coined the term liberalism in 1938 as a colloquial water Lieberman. The colloquium defines the concept of neoliberalism as involving the priority of the price machinism, the free enterprise, the system of competition, and a strong and impartial state. To be neoliberal meant advocating a modern economic policy with state intervention.
And I would like to remind all of you that you should label in your PowerPoint which part is in the paper you presented and which part is what you found in internet or in books. And this is not in our original text, but they worked very hard to find out I think, maybe one of the earliest definition of neoliberalism. So you should label that this is the source on the page, and you use another color or another graphic style to show us that this page of your presentation is not from the original text, but from your findings. Okay, go on.
We use Google to find this. Neoliberalism is a form of recovery of economic liberalism. Since the 1970s, increasingly important role in international economic policy. In the international language, neoliberalism refers to a political and economic philosophy emphasizing the free market mechanism, opposed to state intervention in the domestic economy and the property rights of business conduct regulation. In foreign policy, the use of tools to support the neoliberal economic diplomatic of all military intervention, such as the pressure to expand the international market, free trade, and the international division of labor to achieve the purpose. Support for multilateral neoliberal political pressure exerted on it by international organizations and treaty countries such as the WTO and the World Bank support neoliberal privatization, oppose direct intervention and production by the state. To enhance its efficiency, the neoliberal opposition to the minimum wage, collective bargaining, and other labor politics, neoliberalism against socialism, trade protectionism, environmentalism, and this would hinder democracy. neoliberalism and higher education. Worldwide system of higher education are experiencing intense and unprecedented transformation. First is the operation of higher education. Second is higher education's relationship to government. We can see the examples. The adoption of neoliberal free market economic policies in the 1980s and the consequent deregulation of education has impacted many systems. As a result of deregulation and liberalization, the trend of individual institutions are to become more competitive and accountable by creating an overall market mechanism within the education system.
Okay, wait a moment. Have you understand all what was presented? Now we have firstly, see these words, competitive. Competitive, have you seen it? But here is not the individual competitiveness, but the competitive of an organization. Here, competitive. And what is accountable? What is accountable? Do you know what is accountable? Has anyone the idea of accounting? Do you know accounting? In many universities, there are a department of accounting to write down what you have done, how you earned, what you have spent, what you have earned, what you have spent it, and make a balance of sheet to see you earn money at least or you lose money at least. It's accounting. No idea? Then use your cell phone to find out what is accounting. But accountable is not the meaning to accounting. Accountable is to be responsible, to take the duty to do something. So when you learn about the civil society, in the book translated by me and other professors, the civil society, I think some of them has already bought and read that book. And a central concept is accountability. Okay, this is not our first concern in this PowerPoint, but our first concern is competitive. Okay, and you can read in your text. So here, this is page 1. Along with the above mentioned challenges in higher education, Taiwanese universities have also gone through a great transformation as the country enforced governmental restructuring policies. So here are policies. And by embracing the global neoliberal ideology, embracing the global neoliberal ideology. And since the 1980s, because all of you are so young, it's a long history for all of you, like the 1980s. So in 1979, the British Empire has a new prime minister and a female prime minister, Margaret Thatcher. She was the first recognized neoliberal ruler, neoliberal governmental leader in the world. And second year, in United States of America, Ronald Reagan was elected to be president of the United States. And he and Lady Thatcher has put the neoliberal doctrines to a new level. It was originally in 1938 mentioned in the text, but in 1938, or 48 or 78, in the 1930s, in the 1940s, in the 1950s, in the 1960s, in economics, they don't treat neoliberalism as the mainstream, but gradually neoliberalism occupied the mainstream in economics in the late 70s. So sometimes maybe you will read it since 1980s. It is because the real policy adopted by Ronald Reagan, by Margaret Thatcher. So we usually say from the 1980s. And if we say it from the 1970s, it is in the circle of the economics. In 1930s, in 1970s, it got gradually much more influence. So the free market orientation in neoliberalism is much difficult to realize what liberalism is. Liberalism, economic liberalism, political liberalism, and neoliberalism. In many ways, economic liberalism is different from political liberalism. And neoliberalism is not the same as the traditional economical liberalism. You should remember at least this. And later, I think you will read much literature concerning this issue. So for our concern in the competitiveness in globalization and in the education and social development, we should at first realize that the liberalism, the neoliberalism, is about liberalization, deregulation, privatization. So Margaret Thatcher has made many state-owned enterprise into privately owned enterprise, and many regulation to secure the labor and the worker and so on has been abolished. So it is, as we have known, the focus on international trade. And by international trade, there was a very important theory, comparative advantage. Why should I export something to another country and buy something from that country? Why should I? Why shouldn't I produce everything? According to Ricardo, a classical economist, he said to us that, for example, England and Portugal, and if England can produce so much clothes and less wine, and Portugal can produce much wine and less clothes, so they should concentrate at what they can best. Namely, England should produce much more clothes and forget the wine, and Portugal should concentrate on producing what? Wine, and forget the clothes. But you need clothes, you need wine. Don't worry. You can sell your product to another country and buy another product back. So if England after this we will have a short 10 minutes pause. England, Portugal. So here is clothes, wine, there is clothes, wine. So the first situation, in your ability, you can produce and here, but if you concentrate on clothes and you can produce I should use a much easy understandable. This is the so-called you should already learn this phrase in your sociology of development. It's the most basic idea in the development, no matter sociology or economic and so on. So, look, if you and you got more. Okay, 10 minutes pause. Relax. 慢一点单词。
Now let's go. Market-oriented higher education is becoming primarily focused on structures and actions and tailored to competition and deregulation. And this is our 5 questions. And the 5 questions also in the papers. The question 1 is, what initiated changes in Taiwanese higher education? This is the 2001 National Annual Statistics Report suggested that income discrepancy between the top 10% and the bottom 10% of families has reached 161 times, in contrast to 39 times the previous years and 19 times in 1991. In comparison of annual family income differences, the gap between the top 20% and the bottom 20% was 7.45 in 2006 and only 4.97 in 1992. These statistics suggest that lower income families presently earn less in comparison to 15 years ago.
Moment. The internationally usually applied statistics to decide how equal or how unequal the society's earning is using the 20% to 20%. And for a long time in Taiwan, it was always lower than 5. But since the late 90s, it changed. So the rich got richer and the poor got poorer. And I don't know what's the figure in China. But in China, I think it could be much worse than in Taiwan. In Korea, in South Korea, it is much worse than in Taiwan. The discrepancy, you know the discrepancy. So it's much greater discrepancy. This is less discrepancy. Okay. So it is a very important context to let us know the problem presented later. Okay.
The question 1 is, what changes have occurred in Taiwanese system of higher education? Changes occurred in higher education in Taiwan associate the issues and dilemmas. This is these 4 questions is university expansion, institutional autonomy, external funding and tuition fees, and global competitiveness. We can see 3 forms. This is the numbers of universities in Taiwan. We can see the numbers of university is expanding.
The third question is, how does Taiwan pursue world-class universities? The first measure is 5-year, 50 billion budget. The budget serves to empower potential universities to improve their fundamental development, to help them integrate human resources from different departments and disciplines, and to establish research centers of cutting-edge specialized research. And the second measure is establishing an internal and external faculty evaluation system. And in my perspective, I think the first measure is more likely it's more likely a direct measure to get public funding. And the second measure is more likely to build a standard for government to decide which university should get public funding and which university cannot get public funding. So I think the final purpose is public funding. And question 4. What are the resulting challenges in higher education? First, higher education is a more personalized option for individuals based on family income and investment decisions. This situation it depends on the introduction of neoliberal ideology and its various market-oriented commodity outcomes, which means depends on the family's conditions, we can decide which universities we want to go. And for us or for our families, our education is a kind of investment, so it also depends on the investment decisions. The second, higher education institutions are pressured to recognize their departments and coursework according to the perceived dictates of the market. In response to market-oriented demands. Moreover, as a result of the shrinking public funding opportunities, universities now are pressured to engage in fundraising from business, enterprises, and corporations. In addition, schools and departments of liberal arts are forced to transform either their names or programs to maintain competitive. For example, our course, the education and the social development, maybe some years ago, our course will put the education theory, maybe or other things to the first place, and now our course is a full English course, and maybe our point is change. So it's a trend. Above all, tuition increases in both public and private higher education institutions have become a heavy burden for many students.
Okay, moment. Universities now are pressured to engage in fundraising from business, enterprise, and corporations. And also governments, from local and central government. If we join a program as partner of a governmental project, we get money from government. Just as in community building project. You know, in Taiwan, if you run a community association, you can hardly raise money on your own. You must raise your funding from enterprise and also from government. For example, this Saturday, this Friday and Saturday, we have our conference on the development of Southern Taiwan by our institute. And our department institute is not used in Taiwan, we use department. In other countries, sometimes they use institute. We have is held by our department, this conference on the social development of Southern Taiwan. And on Saturday and Sunday in Hakka Center, in the nearby, the government, the Hakka committee in our government, who are the chairman? Our former president of our university, Liu Qingzhong. Professor Liu is now the chairman of the Hakka committee. So Hakka committee would like to hold a conference on the Hakka issue. So they don't do all things on their own. They put it as a project and they give money for whom that can mostly able to hold this conference. So if this university and that university and that university present their project for this coming conference, and the committee choose one of them to be responsible for that and give the university the money. So which university is responsible for this Hakka conference? This university. Our Hakka Center got the project. It must be in an open and comparative. You presented your project and how much money you need, what would you do, and so on. The full project. And other Hakka Center in other countries, they present their project. So you can also get your money from government. Not necessarily from Ministry of Education, but from other departments of the government, or even local government. For example, our conference, we have got funding from Pingtung County government. Our conference, we got 20,000 NT dollars from the Pingtung County government. And our president has told us, the professors, if we can get the funding outside the university, and the university under his leadership would give us sometimes the same as we got from outside. So it's an encouragement. You got funding from outside and you got funding inside. Okay. It's not just a single case in this university. Or in every university. One very interesting case. We have once a very powerful and influential speaker invited to our department to give us a speech. Professor Chen Dongsheng. He was my teacher when I was at the National Taiwan University. And Professor Chen has taught us one thing, very curious. And he had a course in National Taiwan University. And because there are so many students who had chosen this course, so the classroom is too small for so large audience. So he would like to move to another larger audio-visual room and conference room. He would like to move to a conference room to therefore the more than 100 students can be seated there. And the National Taiwan University told him, no problem, and no problem, and you should pay us 8,000 per week. National Taiwan University, and you know who Professor Chen is? He is the Department of Humanity and Social Science in the National Science Council, now the Ministry of Technology. The highest, one of the highest positions in the human and social science in Taiwan. He was already once, around the time, he was already once the head of this department. And so powerful and influential professor would like to move to a large conference room, and the National Taiwan University would like to charge him 8,000 per week, $20. Because the university should fund funding. The university want to charge him. And he said, no way. And so the course shrink to the originally designed, so many students could not attend his course because of the too small classroom. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. What is the university for? It's for your learning. The university should not charge professor or students and this money. So there are many other examples. Many other examples. For example, I have heard that one private university, not national as we, one private university, they force every professor to get outside funding. So one professor in the Department of Chinese Literature has got a small project associated with business, with a dentist. You know dentist? And the agenda is how the dentist use Chinese to express his diagnosis and his treatment. It is ridiculous. But otherwise, he would be, I don't know, he or she would be punished. And because it is a private university, it is very dangerous for a professor not to follow the university's principles. Many other things. And it is not just in Taiwan, but in China, in Korea, in Japan, even in Europe, but not so so brutal. Everywhere in this planet, on this planet, if you follow the neoliberal doctrine, and you must make yourself, your institution, your university, your country, you must make it much more efficient in producing something, much more efficient. But university, what should university do? I should produce students, no, students not to be produced by me. I should inspire you to look into the world. That's my definition of my job. I should inspire you, not to just tell you more and more things, but to let you think, to make you think, to let you see the world. That is my purpose. But, excuse me. But it is not to be measured. It is hardly to be measured. How far has you, in my course, widen your eyes? How far? It is not to be measured. So if we want to decide how efficient a professor is, we choose to look at how much papers, how many papers he or she has written. But paper has nothing to do with you, with all of you. But it is easily measurable, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It is easily measurable. And how much funding a professor is able to get from outside, from inside, from Ministry of Education, from Ministry of Technology, and so on. It is easily measurable. So we choose. You cannot say, in philosophy, it is wrong to pursue efficiency. Philosophically, it is wrong. And in practice, it is not doable. It is not workable. You cannot measure many things important to your learning. It is not to be measured. So we choose other things to measure, to evaluate. And we say this professor is good, that university is good, and so on. But many problems was raised in this course of so-called university development, and so on. So about fundraising, and you have seen that in Taiwan we have much more university than before. And you certainly already know. At least from this year, much enormously, next year, 2015, since 2015, and we should have much less university as we got. We have one less since we merged two universities together to be National People's University, right? So if you count, so one less, but it is not so serious. When you close university, it would be much more worse. So we will come back later to the war efficiency. Please go on.
Question 5. What will happen next to Taiwanese higher education? From the material, until the late 1980s, most universities were administered by the government. alongside the general trends towards political democracy and economic deregulation, coupled with the influence of the global advance of neoliberalism ideology, Taiwanese higher education went through a period of great transformation. And under this public pressure, the early 1990s, a series of reforms were launched to enhance institutional autonomy and academic freedom, which were protected by the Constitution. As the years progressed, more and more universities have enjoyed institutional autonomy, but are also facing challenges in fundraising, accountability, and evaluation. And after all is said and done, we turn to the summary and the inspiration. The public mission of university must not be forgotten. Preserving, passing, and creating culture and knowledge for the betterment of the human society, and especially the next generation. For this point, I can't agree more. So I think everyone here can understand it. And thank you for your listening.
Okay. I am very appreciate that the group got this paper so late, and but they have done their best and very comprehensive presentation. And I would like to make some is the trade union. So this is the trade union by faculty and staff from the higher education in this country. We have got our trade union. Trade union is not trade. If we talk about international trade, trade union is the association of workers. We are workers. We are labor force. We are workers, and we work so hard, and our rights must be protected. Okay, this is trade union. So we have the trade union in the higher education. And the General Secretary of the trade union, Professor Chen Zhenliang, had given us a speech. So you know that in this university, in this department, we have already in the past years so much interesting and important and influential speech. So we should pay your attention what happened in this university. And Chen Zhenliang, Professor Chen Zhenliang has mentioned one thing very interesting. Here, the trade union basically trade unions think the right to teach and to learn by professors and by students should be protected, not just following the doctrine of neoliberalism. And Professor Chen has told us why the neoliberalism had widespread in Taiwan. Of course, it is a global phenomenon, not just Taiwan. But in Taiwan, we have our local special situation to help the widespreading of neoliberalism. What's the local factor? It's our liberalization in politics. In late 1980s, Taiwan had gone through a long-term struggle for democracy and finally democratized to the 1980s. So Professor Chen had told us at that time what means liberalization. It meant at that time against the Kuomintang. It means against the authority. It means against all intervention. It was a political liberalization agenda, but the concept, the thoughts, the habit was changed. In the past times, we obeyed rules, we obeyed the orders, and in the course of liberalization, we want to liberate everything. So very curiously, very paradoxically, and someone would call it very tragically, that this kind of overall liberation has found its counterpart in the neoliberalism ideology. Because in Taiwan, the market, labor market, financial market, market in the productive sector, market in the service sector, market in education, all kinds of market was not free or controlled by the government. So liberate the market from the government. It is very, very legitimate goal. It is no problem. We should do that. But after the liberation from the government control, we slip into another trap. We are trapped in the market-oriented neoliberalism. So in many other countries, they have the same situation as in Taiwan. Government control. And the government lose their control. And the businessmen, especially the big business, the enterprise, control knowledge. So the doctrine of neoliberalism, efficiency, profit, control the market and control our thought. So it's a dilemma. So in retrospect into the history, we cannot change our history, but we should realize that what happened. So to let us know how should we do in the future. Okay, it is much more complicated, so I use much more time. I should let you see other things. Okay. At first, there are many things I would like to talk about, but we don't have the time. So I choose this one because in their presentation, I have many points to discuss with them and with all of you, but since we don't have the time, I choose this one. But remember, other ones can be discussed. Here, it is from our text here. Okay, first and the second, and here, the introduction of neoliberal ideology and its various market-oriented commodity outcomes has transformed higher education into a more personalized option for individuals based on family income and investment decisions. And you must remember this definition of education, your decision according to your family income and according to It is whose definition? The definition of neoliberalism. Not of you, not of us, not of this society in earlier times and even now. Do you think when we talk about the students from the university, graduate from the university, and he or she can earn so less money, and the investment in university is not a very good choice to invest in investment. So, do you believe that automatically we would get less university students next year? Do you believe? Because in the newspaper, they said that the graduated can earn so less money, just as the same as the high school graduated. Read this. When you realize that the university education cannot bring you more money, would you abandon the opportunity to be a university student? Would you? Most of the high school students and their parents in this society would not. You know what I mean? If it is solely economically choosable investment decision. Okay, here, profit, and I choose this one. I buy this one, and this brings no profit, so I abandon this. But education in East Asia, not just in Taiwan, but in East Asia, has much more higher value than just financial investment. Isn't it? In earlier times, only 30% of high school students could enter the university, only 30%. Now, you already know, more than 100%. But still, as university students, you are somewhat different from the most of the society. Certainly, in 30 years, it makes no difference because everyone graduates from university in 30 years. If we don't change our system in 30 years, everyone in this country, except for the very, very old people, in 30 or 50 years, everyone graduates from or would enter an university. So it's then university is as the same as elementary school. And the university education is just as the obligatory or compulsory education. It's for everyone, not for someone special. Now it is in a transformation phase. It is at the same time for everyone. It is at the same time for someone special. So it is very difficult to locate us and locate our teaching and learning. Should I treat you as students in an elementary school? So you are everyone. Should I treat you as just everyone in this country? Or should I treat you as someone special? Someone special enough to be here? Which one should I choose? And which one should you look at yourself? It is a very fundamental, serious question. But as I have said, that here, this is the neoliberal ideology. It's market-oriented. So if you choose to enter a university, you must see it as an investment. But sometimes you don't have the power to choose. You must enter an university in East Asia. So far as you can, then you must. It is the East Asian doctrine, East Asian doxa, not only neoliberal is doxa, the so-called credentialism. You know, we have talked about credentialism at our first week. We have two doxa, neoliberal doxa and the credentialism doxa. And neoliberalism tells you that you must enter an university and to prove that you are much more competitive than others. And the credentialism tells you that with your credential, with your diploma, with your certification, to prove you are graduate, you are undergraduate in the university, and you would graduate from an university, and certainly you will be someone special because you are a university student. You are different, and this credential brings you prestige, not only money, but prestige, privilege, and so on. It is credentialism. But you know, in ancient China, if you are good at reading and writing, you would be a government official. But nowadays, it is different. But the very, very traditional doctrine or even doxa of credentialism are still widely spread in East Asia. Okay. So I would like to invite you to this is the this is so-called visualizers and moment. Don't have much time, so okay, we'll see the next week. It's time to say see you next week. And remember, before you leave this world, if you are member footstep to Java, your team, or your employees, and who would like to present next week, and I promise today I will upload.